At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors, including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism, sole proprietors, professional practice.
But if you're still chatting and you haven't started on your breakfast, please, the buffet is open. Let's get ready for the excitement of the morning. Thank you.
At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors, including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism, sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture-related requests and ensure continuity, accessibility, and quick decision-making. Partnerships with leading academic institutions keep us abreast of the latest research developments and emerging trends in the industry. We have tailored, flexible, and cost-effective finance packages that specifically cater for the sector. We match export and import needs with strong global transacting products and simplified risk hedging instruments. Our specialist industry knowledge is aligned to the needs of three main market sectors, namely agronomy, horticulture, livestock production. Franchising. Our franchising is a unit which was created to devise and deliver tailored solutions for the franchise market. With our client-centric philosophy, partnering with you to grow your franchise, Nedbank Franchising offers clients a banking partnership founded on our willingness and ability to understand your franchise and provide you with a solutions-driven service. We take both the franchisor and franchisee's needs into account. Our holistic approach includes lending, transactional, and value-added solutions. The bank has introduced numerous digital banking capabilities to simplify banking and improve customer experience. Our digital innovations include mobile banking using the USSD platform or mobile banking app, internet banking, online account opening, an enhanced contact center for improved customer queries handling, POS, point of sale, iPOS, integrated point of sale, and MPOS, mobile point of sale machines, and a vast network of ATMs that dispense USD and Zimbabwean dollars. We also facilitate DSTV payments, Zimra payments in USD and Zimbabwean dollars, and have a prepaid MasterCard available for your convenience. Our fully fledged international banking unit offers services in offshore finance, international business and SWIFT payments, facilitating foreign transactions such as foreign payments, foreign receipts processing, telegraphic transfers, CD1s and CD3s. Nedbank's value-added services include financial planning, business assurance, investment planning, estate planning, offshore financial planning, and short-term insurance. We do not just throw money at you. That would be bad banking. We provide a considerable measure of support. Our financial advisory role will drive us to provide real engagement to ensure that what we deliver is sustainable for you, the society, and for us. We are the money experts who do good. See money differently. Nedbank. At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism, sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture-related requests and ensure continuity, accessibility, and quick decision-making. Partnerships with leading academic institutions keep us abreast of the latest research developments and emerging trends in the industry. We have tailored, flexible, and cost-effective finance packages that specifically cater for the sector. We match export and import needs with strong global transacting products and simplified risk hedging instruments. Our specialist industry knowledge is aligned to the needs of three main market sectors, namely agronomy, horticulture, livestock production, Franchising. Our franchising is a unit which was created to devise and deliver tailored solutions for the franchise market with our client-centric philosophy, partnering with you to grow your franchise. Nedbank Franchising offers clients a banking partnership founded on our willingness and ability to understand your franchise and provide you with a solutions-driven service. We take both the franchisor and franchisee's needs into account. Our holistic approach includes lending, transactional, and value-added solutions. The bank has introduced numerous digital banking capabilities to simplify banking and improve customer experience. Our digital innovations include mobile banking using the USSD platform or mobile banking app, internet banking, online account opening, an enhanced contact center for improved customer queries handling, POS, point of sale, iPOS, integrated point of sale, and MPOS, mobile point of sale machines, and a vast network of ATMs that dispense USD and Zimbabwean dollars. We also facilitate DSTV payments, Zimra payments in USD and Zimbabwean dollars, and have a prepaid MasterCard available for your convenience. Our fully fledged international banking unit offers services in offshore finance, international business and SWIFT payments, facilitating foreign transactions such as foreign payments, foreign receipts processing, telegraphic transfers, CD1s and CD3s. Nedbank's value-added services include financial planning, business assurance, investment planning, estate planning, offshore financial planning, and short-term insurance. We do not just throw money at you. That would be bad banking. We provide a considerable measure of support. Our financial advisory role will drive us to provide real engagement to ensure that what we deliver is sustainable for you, the society, and for us. We are the money experts who do good. See money differently. Nedbank. At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism, sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture-related requests and ensure continuity, accessibility, and quick decision-making. Partnerships with leading academic institutions keep us abreast of the latest research developments and emerging trends in the industry. We have tailored, flexible, and cost-effective finance packages that specifically cater for the sector. We match export and import needs with strong global transacting products and simplified risk hedging instruments. Our specialist industry knowledge is aligned to the needs of three main market sectors, namely agronomy, horticulture, livestock production. Franchising. Our franchising is a unit which was created to devise and deliver tailored solutions for the franchise market. With our client-centric philosophy, partnering with you to grow your franchise, Nedbank Franchising offers clients a banking partnership founded on our willingness and ability to understand your franchise and provide you with a solutions-driven service. We take both the franchisor and franchisee's needs into account. Our holistic approach includes lending, transactional, and value-added solutions. The bank has introduced numerous digital banking capabilities to simplify banking and improve customer experience. Our digital innovations include mobile banking using the USSD platform or mobile banking app, internet banking, online account opening, an enhanced contact center for improved customer queries handling, POS, point of sale, iPOS, integrated point of sale, and MPOS, mobile point of sale machines, and a vast network of ATMs that dispense USD and Zimbabwean dollars. We also facilitate DSTV payments, Zimra payments in USD and Zimbabwean dollars, and have a prepaid MasterCard available for your convenience. Our fully fledged international banking unit offers services in offshore finance, international business and SWIFT payments, facilitating foreign transactions such as foreign payments, foreign receipts processing, telegraphic transfers, CD1s and CD3s. Nedbank's value-added services include financial planning, business assurance, investment planning, estate planning, offshore financial planning, and short-term insurance. We do not just throw money at you. That would be bad banking. We provide a considerable measure of support. Our financial advisory role will drive us to provide real engagement to ensure that what we deliver is sustainable for you, the society, and for us. We are the money experts who do good. See money differently. Nedbank. At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice. financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors, including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism. Sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture.
Expecting a Mavis Mabaso? No? Anybody expecting a Karabo? Got a friend called Karabo? No? Okay. So Mavis and Marang are not your friends. Okay, is anybody expecting Harriet? It took you guys a while, huh? Haibo. Okay, well, I've got news for you. Those ladies are not coming. Yeah, no, they're not coming. But you know who is coming? Do you know a living legend? It's not fake news. She's live and in person and at the venue. Please help me welcome Connie Ferguson.
Sir. Chief,
Sadlondosa, ngizongindosa. Sadlondosa, ngizongindosa. Ngizongindosa.
Another round of applause, please, for Miss Connie Ferguson. Please take your seats and let's get started. Good morning, Mamuka say. Mamuka bobo ere. Kanjani ma levels. Very ambiguous. Ma levels enyanoda ogadziriswa. Igama lami nguThembelihle. Nginethembelihle ukuthi namhla sizajabula lapha njalo konke okuzakwenzakala kuzabe kukuhle njengani. Angithi ndinokugamchira emese muri munomu mu venue ku Avondale Harare uyezve ndichigamchira vari kudzimba and everybody who is watching from across the continent and the globe. Welcome to the Nedbank Women in Business Conference, where we are going to be focusing on stepping up and building a legacy. Now, before I get started, I would like you to turn to the woman on your right and say to her, but you're already saying something before I've told you what to say to her. Say to her, umuhle. It doesn't sound like you're saying it to the woman on your right. Sounds like you're saying it to me. And then turn to the woman on your left and say, sibahle. Now can you repeat that exercise in Shona? The woman on your left. And then can you repeat the exercise in Tswana? Lubantle. Okay. Right, now that we've established that we are all good, all beautiful, all ambitious, all interested in building our legacy and stepping up into the business world, please help me welcome the managing director who is our host today at this event of Nedbank, Dr. Sibongile Moyo.
Great. So let's try again. Good morning again and welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're honored to have you here with us, and I'm particularly pleased because this time round we have a whole room full of, or at least half a room full of very young women in their 20s, 30s, 40s who are starting out as entrepreneurs. Yeah, young in your 40s. Who are starting out their journeys as entrepreneurs. And we're here, I think, to support you and to build what you're trying to do and try and get you where you need to get up until your retirement and up until you leave this earth. We're thrilled to be able to listen to a conversation that is purpose-led here today, where we're speaking of what we as women can contribute in terms of building legacies. All the work we put into our day-to-day, over our entire working career, where does it take us? So we're left asking ourselves, at the end of our illustrious careers, at the end of a career as a serial entrepreneur, I know many of us are moving from enterprise to enterprise over the years, building and building and building, and then we're left wondering at the end of our life, what do we have to show for this? What have we done? What steps have we put into place? What building blocks have we put into place for us to say, this is what I've done. I'm here at retirement. I'm comfortable. I'm able to care for those who I love. And I'm able to leave a legacy that says, this person was here. So, before I carry on, I need to observe some protocol. I have in this room 2 of our young women directors on the Nedbank Zimbabwe board, and I'd just like to acknowledge them. So, Sisi Madziro and Lucille Makwasha. Great. So, as women, we've made massive strides in business, reaching further and higher than before. Women are actually leading entrepreneurial activity across Africa. Even though we're leading entrepreneurial activity across Africa, we find that many women-led businesses are not profitable and they eventually fail. And why is this? Right? What is it that we're not doing to support each other that gets us over the line and gets us to build sustainable enterprises and to build legacy? We at Nedbank are particularly interested in empowering women on financial matters. We have a keen interest here today in sharing information, in hearing the inspirational stories of women's business journeys, the women who are here today, very powerful women who have achieved a lot in their lives in different spheres of life, but have a lot to tell us in terms of the building blocks that we need to put in place to build our businesses and to build legacy, as well as to ourselves be able to say, I did this and it got me to this place and I left this earth having left my loved ones and my affairs in order. So legacy is a key metaphor, right? We need to lift historical barriers. And what this means is we need to look at long-term value creation, Tembi. And that's what we're here to do. So, over our productive lives, we're able to accumulate wealth, we're able to take care of ourselves and our loved ones, but we have not brought women into financial planning discussions. And what does this mean? If we bring more women into financial planning discussions, we create stronger futures for ourselves and future generations. We'll find that wealth planning and family and business financial planning are highly intertwined for us as women and as entrepreneurs. So we focus deliberately on financial plans because they encompass long or way beyond our investment strategies. They encompass our initiatives such as formalizing our business operations, which are critical to sustainability and legacy. They encompass risk management, which is protecting your operations or your businesses, through things like insurance, because guess what? You can claim for insurance losses that you incur as a business so that you can carry on operating. We look at financial planning because it looks like succession for your business activities and personal activities. We look at retirement planning, estate planning, and of course wealth management, which over your lifetime allows you to invest in a diverse portfolio that creates the cushion you need for the rest of your life. So our team is here to speak to you on a no-fee basis, free consultation, free advice, to speak about how you can put these things in place to support your long-term value creation. I'd just like to say that we are thrilled to have stories or people who can share stories with us from different business spaces, from different industries. Mrs. Ferguson here is from the arts and culture industry. Who would have thought that we would be here getting key nuggets on our legacy and business ideas from somebody from the arts and culture industry? And why is this important? Because it cuts across. It really does cut across. We have with us this morning a young entrepreneur that we've been working with, Chiedza, who's an accountant by training, but has gone into piggery production, has started a butchery enterprise. And why is this important for us to learn from her? Because, again, the same principles cut across. So we're pleased to be with you and to hear more from you. Tembi, I'm not the guest of honor here, so I'm going to give up this spot and let you get on with the program.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Swongile. I think that that was a very important way for us to set the tone for today's conversations. We were chatting a couple of days ago about building long-term value for women, women's businesses, and women in business. But I know that what you really want is to hear from the guest of honor, right? I've got some questions for you guys. Let me just get my gadgets here. The lady sitting next to me is complaining that I've got too much equipment. How many of you feel like you already know Connie? Right? Like she's been in your house, she's been talking to you since like 1994. Some of you weren't even born, huh? But there's some things that you may not have known about Usis Connie. By the way, she's my sister. Did you know that? See, I told you there are things you don't know about her. Of course you know that she is a phenomenal, successful, award-winning entertainer. You know that she is a prolific businesswoman. You know that she is best known for roles in Generation, Soul City, Rockville, The Queen. I could go on and on. But what you may not know is that in 2008, she started a body care line. Did you know that? The ones who know are like, yes! Okay, you get a prize for knowing that. She started a body care line. She has fragrances for men and women that are distributed in all of the big chains in South Africa and also in stores in Botswana and other countries. She even won an award for ShopRite Upcoming Supplier of the Year for that body care range. In 2015, she's won the Living Legend Award in Arts and Culture at the African Women Awards in 2016. She's won the Fabulous Woman of the Year Award, obviously. I feel like she should win that one every year. And the Glamour Woman of the Year in Media Award in 2018. She also, and this is important because I think sometimes we think that people in the entertainment industry, it's like not a serious business. And you think that. I was watching Oprah with my mom one day, and she was concentrating, and then she said to me, I want to bet this woman is very rich. What? Yeah, mom. And she said, what is her profession? So I said, she's a journalist. Then she was very quiet because she was very confused. Because often we think that if you are in media or in entertainment, you can't also build wealth and be in business, in serious corporate business. Connie sits on the board of 2 companies and has co-founded the Ferguson, as you know, co-founded Ferguson Films with her late husband, Shona Ferguson, and they've produced some of Mzansi Magic's most popular series, as you know, because you're the ones that make them popular, right? And so today, we want to have a conversation with Usis Connie, because there are things we need to know, which we haven't had the chance to ask. So I'm going to invite Usis Connie to come up. We're going to talk, our conversation is in 2 parts. The first part, we're just going to talk about life in J, life things in J, so that we have a foundation, because we all come from life. Then later, we're going to talk about business. Come.
She goes, oh. Just that little sigh. Hello, everybody.
Day made, career made, life made. This is Connie. Before I start, I want to offer you my condolences on behalf of the women in this room, on behalf of your fans and your Zimbabwe family for the loss of your husband.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna talk about grief a little bit later. But
can I just say good morning before you get to it?
Ma?
Can I just say good morning before you get to it? Good morning, my beautiful ladies. I can see that the room is so packed, which just says to me how much everybody's excited for this Nedbank event, how everybody's excited to learn from each other, to network with each other, and coming together as women, we don't do it often. And every time I see it, it just warms my heart so much. So I'd just like to say good morning. Thank you for having me in your beautiful country. And thank you for such a warm reception that I received yesterday and the love that I've already been shown in this room today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Speaking of warmth, and because you are the embodiment of warmth and love, you're a mom of 2 girls, right? And we're here because there's Mother's Day tomorrow. We want to celebrate. We want to talk about that. What are your aspirations for your daughters as a mom?
My biggest thing for my daughters is for them to be happy. Whichever path they choose in life, as long as it's honorable, as long as it honors them, it honors their parents, it honors their friends, it honors their community, but biggest of all, it honors God. I'm happy to support them in any way.
Wow. Guys, those of you who are moms, did you see she didn't say that she wishes for her daughter to marry a Mbinga? And we came to take notes, so let's take notes. Speaking of mums, what was the point in your career where you felt like, Mama, I've made it? And what did Mama say?
Oh, speaking of moms, I lost my mom in 2013, I think it was. And my mother was my, you know, they say a father is a daughter's first love. I do believe a father is a daughter's first love when a daughter grows up after sight, right? But I believe a mother is a daughter's first love. Because when you hear in your mother's belly and you are developing and growing, that bond between a mother and a child can never be understood by, and not taking anything away from fathers, right? But just that bond between a mother and a child. So I personally believe a mother is a child's first love, and a father is a daughter's first love at sight. I learned so much from my mom, I think, which is what I'm hoping I'm passing on to my children. The biggest lesson that I learned from my mother was love. And today we speak about legacy. Speaking of Mother's Day, for me, the biggest legacy that any parent can leave for their children is that of love. Because I believe when you do anything in love, be it work, be it in a relationship, be it in a friendship, anything born of love can never fail. Can never fail, because the support that comes with it. And when I say can never fail, I don't mean things cannot go wrong. Things will always go wrong. But where there is love, there's always a way. And that's a big thing for me in terms of legacy. Do everything in love and with love, and you will never fail.
So how does a young woman, like the women in this room, figure out what that love is in terms of career paths? I find often we're asked, how do I find my passion? How do you advise young women in that regard?
It's very important to identify what it is that you love, first of all. Work is work, right? And when we grow up, we are taught. I grew up in a town called Lobatse in Botswana. And at the time that I grew up, the popular professions were being a teacher or being a nurse. I mean, being a doctor was very elite. You didn't even aim that high at one point. You know, being a lawyer was like you have to go to private school to be a lawyer or be a doctor. And some of us, you know, grew up, you know, meaning we didn't have much growing up. So private school was not even an option. So when you went to government school, like some of us did, you would aspire to be a teacher or a nurse. I know that wasn't, at one point, yes, I did, but it wasn't really a passion. It was because when you were at school, they would say, you need to study science so you can do this. You need to do this so you can do this. But at the time, I found what I was passionate about was actually sewing. And you told me an interesting, sorry, my voice is croaky. Told me an interesting story about sewing. So I'm very handy. I was very good with my hands. So I loved needlework and creating. And so I suppose from a very early age, I was creative, just didn't know which industry I'll end up in. So personally, I wanted to be a fashion designer, but growing up in the town that I did, that wasn't even a career. That wasn't, I mean, you'd be a dressmaker, not a fashion designer. Like fashion designer sounds fancy, right? There you'd just be a dressmaker. Somebody would come to you to mend their clothes.
Alteration.
Yeah, alterations. And I used to be the best alteration person, I tell you. So that was it. But identify what it is that you like. I always say I'm so blessed. I'm not lucky. I'm blessed that I can wake up in the morning, and we work very long hours, but wake up in the morning and go do what I love to do. Because when you do what you love, it ends up not feeling like work. No matter how hard and daunting it is, it ends up not feeling like work. But when you have to wake up and drag yourself out of bed and roll your eyes before you get on the road to go to work, you know you haven't quite found your passion. Or if it is actually what you like, maybe your work environment is not allowing you to thrive, and maybe that is what you're supposed to be doing, but you're doing it in the wrong place. So there are just so many elements to it.
Yeah.
But just identify what it is that you love and take that love, that thing, and turn it into a business or a passion. I believe when you work on something that you're passionate about, it can never fail.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you transition into the entertainment industry?
I think I've already alluded to being creative from a very young age. So in primary school, I was very involved in traditional dance. At the time, we called them disketch, you know, skits. now it's drama. Like now we have fancy words for these things. But growing up in a sketch, you know, we would like do a play here, a play there. And although I was very shy and reserved as a child, every time we had to perform, I came alive.
Right.
So I think that was God's way of telling me where I belong. Maybe I didn't know it back then. But I mean, every time I think back and I try to identify signs of how I ended up where I am. Because growing up where I grew up, it just was not a remote possibility at all.
Wow.
But here I am. So yeah, I was very involved in skits, and my parents would always be so proud of me when they saw me perform, and they were my biggest cheerleaders. And in high school, I suppose it just elevated to another level with doing literature in English and dramatic arts. So the move to Joburg and just ending up in the industry was almost like natural for me.
Right, right. Wow. Parental support is so important, isn't it?
Very important, very important. Nobody can validate a child better than a parent can validate their own child. So this is what I feel very passionately about as well, is that, again, being young and having my parents tell me I'm beautiful, and having my parents tell me, you are so good at that. My mother used to say to me, oh, my baby, you have so much grace.
Wow.
When I was young, I had no idea what that meant. I just thought, oh, my mom loves me so much. You know, I just felt love, but I didn't know what she meant by you have so much grace. And as I got older and just see how people tend to gravitate towards me for whatever reason, and I suppose good tends to gravitate towards me, I started to recognize what mama meant. And just also how people would say, you have so much grace. And I'm thinking, wait, my mom used to say that to me a lot.
Prophetic.
Very, very prophetic.
Right.
So what you say to your child, you are breeding that, basically. So I think just speak life to your children. I speak life to my children all the time. Tell your children they're beautiful. If your children are not necessarily intellectuals at school, but they're creatives, they're good with their hands, they're good with something, highlight what they're good at. Of course, you can encourage what they're not good at. You can tell them that, okay, so you didn't get 60%, 80% on this one. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, baby. Get a teacher to help you. Do you like this? Yes. Get a teacher to help you do after school classes or whatever, just to improve on this mark. But remember, you are brilliant. Look at how well you performed here. Because those little affirmations actually help build them. Where if they only recognize where they are failing, that kills their confidence, and they end up actually not even being interested in what they are good at.
So true, so true. We're living in a I want to say post-COVID, but that's debatable. We're living in this time where more and more young people are becoming depressed. There are a lot of mental health issues in our communities. Maybe we're just beginning to recognize them more. What are some of your best tips for safeguarding your mental health?
If I may just share quickly, I know all too well about depression. Having encountered a lot of loss in my life, and I'm not just talking about the recent one. Lost a baby in 2008. My mom in 2013, and then now recently hubby. But hubby is very recent, so I suppose how I'm dealing with that is a little different from how I dealt with the other two losses. Became very depressed, like lost a marriage even before all these other, I mean, just different losses in life,
Yes.
right, contribute to how we feel about ourselves, sometimes how we see ourselves. And it's not, I'm not a pity party type of person. I don't like feeling sorry for myself. And worst of all, I don't like people feeling sorry for me. I think that kind of makes me feel worse. I like to be encouraged. I like to be motivated. But just going back to days where I just wanted to sleep and not wake up. Mornings where I would literally just wake up and stay in bed and just cover my head and not get out of bed the whole day. Crying for no reason a lot of times. Like you'd literally just be sitting and crying, and then someone would ask you, what is wrong? And that would just make it worse, and you'd cry some more and not even be able to tell them what is wrong. So from my part, I can identify what caused the issue, the mental health issue.
Yeah.
But there were also times where I couldn't identify what was wrong with me.
Yes.
And that would be, eventually it was identified as seasonal affective disorder. Which is, and a lot of people have it and they don't even realize, like somebody would just say, hey, I'm in such a funk and I don't know what is wrong. So what that is when seasons change, sometimes your mood changes and you don't know why. So for me, winter's usually my worst month, and I'm a winter baby. So my doctor identified that every time I came and I wasn't okay, came to see her and I wasn't okay, it was usually around autumn, winter, that season.
Right.
And then she said, you could have seasonal affective disorder. So they gave me means to cope with it. One, get a lot of light, natural sunlight. Go out in the sun for a little bit, don't get sunburned, but just get a lot of natural air, natural light. Exercise.
Yes.
For me, my biggest antidepressant. People don't understand how I'm so busy, yet I'm still able to be active.
Yeah.
For me, it's more than just about the physicality of it. Oh yes, that's a very nice side effect that I'm able to exercise and look good. I love that side effect. But it's not the number one reason that I'm so passionate about working out, and it's just my mood lifter. I haven't been on antidepressants
100%.
for, I think, more than 5 years now.
Wow.
And that's a big deal for me.
I really want to testify to that, because I've also found that exercise, for me, it's running.
Yeah.
It's just like in the morning, it sets the tone for the day. And then you're energized, you're in a good mood, everything is rolling beautifully.
Absolutely. And we'll find every excuse in the book not to do it, because we are always too busy, right? But the thing is, you have to find time to do the things you love. And actually, you have to find time to do the things that are good for you, because you
Yes.
can't be productive if you're not feeling your best.
So true, so true. So you're talking about grief and loss and depression, and you're having to navigate this in the public eye, as it were. What is that like for you, and how do you manage the public persona and your private sadness?
It's a difficult balance. I think with the baby, at the time I was playing Karabo on Generation. Do you guys remember when Karabo was pregnant? Yes. You do, ne? So Karabo's pregnancy was written into the story because I was pregnant. And then I lost the baby. But Karabo had to remain pregnant for 9 months.
Oh.
So I played a pregnant Karabo while I was mourning the loss of my pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
So that was hard. That was hard. Because I had to go to set and cry every day. So that was hard, but on the flip side, that was also therapeutic. Because I think I got to really cry and just let it out, because that pain, I was able to shed it. And then same with my mom. I saw a trauma counselor as well. So with hubby, I think this is different in the sense that we are both in the public eye. We were very well known as a couple. People adored him. I think people loved the two of us together. So the hardest thing for me, like I said, I don't like pity parties. And I don't like, I'm not saying people shouldn't feel sorry for me, but I don't want to dwell in people feeling sorry for me.
Right.
I don't like to dwell in a state, like or in a sad state or in a morbid. I don't, because I need people to encourage me and to pray for me and to help me get out of it.
Yes.
Not to literally just keep on piling the dark, and this room is becoming smaller and darker and darker and darker. No, I need people to be lifting off and allowing light to come through.
Yes.
So it's been 9 months now and some change since hubby passed on. It's been things are different. Okay, my life has changed in a way that I cannot even explain. And I think the biggest thing for me was to accept that my life has changed.
Yeah.
Acceptance is a big thing. When Sho was sick, I don't think as a family, we love God very much. And my husband was a Jesus person. And I'm singling him out because he was so overtly open about it. And, you know, that's on his page, it was just Jesus. You know, Sho was like a Jesus person. So when he was sick, I remember we had prayer groups. We had chain prayers going. We prayed so much for Sho to come out of it. And when he didn't, I remember I felt, immediate feeling was let down.
Disappointed.
Very, very let down. I felt, God, dog, you let me down. You know, because, and I think this is what I learned as well, is that, and this is me saying, this is not the Bible or some preacher said this to me, no, nothing. I just felt like I had a deal with God. You know, I was going to be Mamuruti if my husband came out. And I know I'm saying this jokingly, but I mean, every time we prayed for Sho, I would tell him, baby, when you come out of this, like, this is going to be our biggest testimony. This is going to be your biggest testimony, because the doctors would write him off all the time. And every time he would make it another day. And another day, and another day. And I thought, there's no way this guy is making it and he's not coming out of this alive, you know? So I trusted that our prayers were working. I trusted that God was answering. And I really believed that he was going through the worst only to come out of it and give like the biggest testimony of our lives, right? But looking at it now, I think the testimony is mine. I may not have seen it at the time, and I think I am still to testify further than I'm testifying now. But I think my current testimony is that I'm here. One, I made it through COVID myself. Two, my husband and I were joined at the hip. Like, when they talk about soulmates, my husband is my soulmate. And I know him and I used to joke a lot about not being able to live with each other. Like, when we're old, you know, we would see couples at the mall, like very old couples walking hand in hand. You know, one would have a stick and the other would be supporting the other. And we joke about who was going to be the one with the stick and who was going to be the one supporting. But like, that's how far we saw ourselves go, right? And when that didn't happen, obviously, that I couldn't see myself continue without Sho. That was just, and I think my biggest fear was that I was going to slip back into a depression, which I did. For a bit. Maybe I still am, but I'm just dealing with it now the way I know how to deal with my depression.
Right.
So that's my testimony today, is that I'm able to get out of bed. I'm able to miss my husband to a point that could be paralyzing, but I'm able to feel in the moment, pray about it, and get myself out of it and go out and get things done.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so openly about things that are so deep and so important in your life. I certainly appreciate it because there's so much for all of us in your story. We really appreciate that.
I think it's important to recognize that, sure, there are different types of losses in life, right? You start a business, you build a business, you lose money. Maybe you had so many plans for your business, and that money could have done something else that was at the back of your mind, but you chose to go this route and it didn't work out. That can drive you into a depression, right? That's a loss. And people may not understand that loss the same way. Connie, looking from the outside in, can say, it's just money, you can work and recoup it, without really understanding the gravity of your situation and what that loss means to you, right? That can lead you into a depression, a loss of a child, a loss of a parent, a loss of a spouse, all that. I'm saying all this to say, it's okay to feel, it's okay to grieve whatever loss, it's okay to be sad. What is not okay is to stay in that bubble. That's
Amen.
not okay.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for that. So just to round off the section, you are, you've raised your two girls and now they're young women. What are the highlights? Like on your highlight show reel for your girls, what does that look like?
Sure. Okay, different highlights. I'll start with Lesedi. Do you see the big smile on my face?
A mum is a mum.
Yeah, I'll start with Sadie. Different challenges with both kids' pregnancies, right? So we'll start from the
Okay.
and then work up. So I don't know how many people know anything about blood groups and your rhesus factors and all that and how they affect your whole being. So I'm Rh negative, A negative, right? I had Lesedi when I was very young. So when you're not aware of these things and you don't know, and doctors tell you these big words that, oh, your blood group is negative, the father is what positive, so your child could be in danger. So those people are very prone to miscarriages and stuff like that. So when the baby is born, you have to be separated quickly, because if there's a transfer of blood, you could lose your life. I mean, they will tell you all these scary things. So that whole pregnancy, I was super careful and so tentative. And every time I thought I was going into labor, I want to go to the doctor, because they have to take this child out quickly and there mustn't be blood transfer. And so when she was born, Lesedi, the first couple of seconds she was quiet. And I freaked out. I freaked out.
Imagine.
So you know how doctors always hit them, and then they put their hands and take whatever, and then she started crying. I think that was the biggest highlight. That's one of the biggest highlights for Lesedi, when she started crying. And I was already crying, but then I started laughing and crying at the same time. I was hysterical. I couldn't stop laughing and crying. So that was a highlight. The other highlight for me for Lesedi was seeing her perform. She's also a dramatic arts student. She's got a degree from AFDA. Just seeing her perform and how she also comes alive as a performer. So Sadie and Alicia are very different. Lesedi is an extrovert, very extroverted, very confident young lady. I love that about her. Speaks very well. I think when I see her interact with her peers as well, I mean, I just always beam with pride when I'm looking at my baby and I'm thinking, that's my baby. That's my baby. And then Ali is the exact opposite of Sadie in terms of personality. So with Alicia, we tried for a while to get pregnant, and when we did, again, that was a highlight. And then when she was born, she was just this Sure, bundle of joy. Bundle of joy. Copy of her father. She looks exactly like her dad. And then again, because children are not the same, she is musically inclined, innately so. Like, I'm not a musician. Her dad is not a musician, although we both love music. But she taught herself to play different instruments. Now she's studying music. But just watching that child play, anything, but especially on drums, because she seems to like get into a zone when she's playing drums. My proudest moment was when she was performing at the Curo concert. Oh my God, you know, we were sitting there and Sho was crying. Sho was very sensitive. And we were sitting there watching, and I'm just seeing, I was like, are you crying? He says, that's my baby. Yes, that's our baby, you know. But I mean, I've had so many proud moments as a mom. I could really never name them all. Every day with my children is like a proud moment. I mean, I look at them and I think, Sho and I have done well. We really have.
Oh, that is beautiful. So lovely. I mean, I have so many more questions. We could go on and on all morning, but we're going to wrap up the segment now. We're going to be asking our next guest to come up and moving on with our program. Thank you so much, Sis Connie.
Thank you.
So
thank
beautiful.
You for the chat.
Ladies, there's so much that you don't know when you're seeing someone up there, as we like to say. People up there in the spaces where we aspire to be. I love that Sis Connie can be so human with us. Thank you so much. It's really an honor. So next up, we are going to be... We're going to have a short break. The ablutions, above the exit sign, there is a set of loos there, and then again at that exit on the right. So either to the left or to the right. If you need to take a quick break to go to the ladies, this is the time. I'll be back shortly.
At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors, including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism. Sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture-related requests and ensure continuity, accessibility, and quick decision-making. Partnerships with leading academic institutions keep us abreast of the latest research developments and emerging trends in the industry. We have
clear instruction and then have the people follow my instruction. Handiti manzi hande ikulu. Imi ndobva maenda kuma tables ndobva matanga kutaura nyaya. Muda kuti ndiite sei. Samadha vanasi.
At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization.
Actually, you don't build a legacy for no one. You build it for someone, or for abo somebody, more than one. We're going to hear right now from a young woman who is the CEO of Delta Philanthropies and the CEO of Akelo, an African company that is transforming education with technology-based solutions. She is a non-executive director on the board of Econet Wireless Zimbabwe and EcoCash Holdings Zimbabwe, two of the largest listed companies on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. She's a board member of Higher Life Foundation, and she leads the Office of Design and Innovation. She's responsible for the education portfolio across the foundation and the Econet group of companies. She's a board member of Ashesi Foundation. She sits on Harvard University's Leadership Council for the Center of African Studies, and she advises entrepreneurship and philanthropy networks. Her name is Elizabeth Tanya Masiyiwa. Guys are acting like she's your relative. Tanya is not with us today, but she will be joining us via a live link, which is coming on now.
A very good morning to everybody. And I was just going to say, how do you know? Maybe they are my relatives. But thank you so much for having me. Can somebody please confirm whether I am audible? Can someone confirm if I'm audible?
Tanya, you are.
It is a true honor to be speaking to all of you this morning. I'm just double checking that it is still morning in Harare. It is incredibly humbling to be speaking amongst such incredible people, women in business, women in leadership, and most importantly, speaking after Connie Ferguson. I think you guys did me a raw deal there, but I was listening so intently, I even forgot that I had a segment of my own. I'm not sure if you wanted to start off by asking me one of the questions you wanted me to speak on today, or if you'd like me to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead. this morning I was asked okay, there's feedback. So, okay, I don't hear it anymore. Please feel free to just let me know in the chat box if there's anything. To share a few anecdotes about women in leadership. And I haven't been a leader for very long. And so I by no means am speaking from a point of giving anybody advice, but just about speaking about my own journey. I would say that many people prepared me for leadership, but nobody most certainly prepared me to be a woman in leadership. You know, growing up, I've heard many stories about the strides that have been made for women and by women. And I very much admire all the work that has been done in front of me. And most importantly, I am so grateful because it opened doors of opportunity for me. But I definitely recognize that there are still steps to be made and that there is still quite a way to go. I grew up with business opportunities and helping people in communities being an ordinary dinner table conversation. We used to speak about the different ways in which we wanted to impact our communities in Zimbabwe. It very much started with a vision about Zimbabwe, where we were from, and quickly it evolved into a Pan-African and then a global vision. We knew that our father had started this company and that his dream was to continue to see it succeed. And that one of the main reasons why we do what we do was to help people, help communities, and ensure that Zimbabweans have an opportunity to thrive. And I grew up always being reminded that the work that we do merely opens up resources for us to change and transform lives. When you grow up hearing that, it is incredibly humbling. Never mind the fact that there were words used like we can't afford it very often. I knew that the legacy that my father and my mother wanted to leave was one of impacting communities, and that is the work that we do through the Higher Life Foundation and Delta Philanthropies. But in order to give money, you have to make money. And so I grew up going to the office, shadowing senior leadership, junior leadership. My first job, I was the tea lady. I was very much reminded that I was not qualified to do anything. And so I took my tea making responsibilities extremely seriously. And I always thought that the minute that I graduated my undergrad or my postgrad, there would be a seat waiting for me at the office. After all, I had garnered all this experience working every single holiday and every single weekend that I could. And when I graduated, I quickly realized that the way that I had imagined it was not the way that it was going to go. When I graduated my postgrad, I immediately went to work for UNICEF. I was in their innovation fund, and I was one of the first sort of pioneering team members around innovation. And our goal was to invest in businesses across developing countries that were working on technologies that had the potential to change and transform the lives of children. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It was a great amalgamation of what I had studied in my undergrad and my postgrad. I'd studied a Bachelor of Science in Banking and International Finance. My postgrad was in social entrepreneurship. I loved my work. I was always the first one in the office, the last one out. That is the value that I'd been raised with. And naturally, for those of you who employ staff, I'm sure you can attest to the fact that everybody loves the one who's always first in, last out. And I really loved it, but I always knew that we had a foundation that was waiting for me to also get engaged and be a part of. So that was one of the first decisions that I had to make for myself. Was I going to continue with the incredible legacy that the UN system and UNICEF has built? Was I going to continue working on what I was working on, creating impact and loving it? or was I going to be a contributor to the vision that my parents had already started? At the same time, I'd also started my own social business, and I was determined to make it work. So as time sort of went on, I decided that my time at UNICEF was going to have an expiry date, and that I was going to be a contributor of this incredible vision. Again, when I got there, I thought it would be a natural process, but it really wasn't. You know, when you join a team, firstly, I'd always been taught to join it with humility, because there are many people who were there before me that had garnered so much experience, that knew so much more than me. And there was an awareness that obviously I was the founder's daughter, that there was an element of what I did that, you know, some people would have termed I didn't earn, but that nearly made my life so much harder. I had to really try my best to prove myself. And there's nothing harder than trying to prove yourself in the sight of men, because people are fickle. One thing that could please them today may not please them tomorrow. And so it also sparked in me a journey of self-discovery. I had to discover what was important to myself and what I wanted to achieve as an individual. And that obviously took so much longer and was just so much harder than anything I could have imagined. Fast forward, when I started my social business, I really wanted to prove that you can start a business, charge reasonable prices, and impact lives at the same time. And that's when I started Simba Education. And I started Simba as part of a business plan competition and an accelerator. The prize was $1 million, and I really threw myself into it. My team and I gave our all. I mean, I remember I would go 2 days without sleeping because I still had to rush to classes and still had to work on this business to try and win the $1 million. We came in the top 10 out of 20,000 applications and entries from different business schools across the world, everyone from Stanford to Oxford, etc. And, you know, when I came from a school that wasn't an Ivy League school, so the stakes were a little bit higher for me. And I think that passion and that burning desire to want to come out on top when you knew that there were people that were so much smarter than you, I think really pushed us to the limit. And we were knocked out of the competition. And I remember when we were knocked out, I really couldn't understand why. I thought that I had done everything that I could to make sure that, you know, I had our bases covered, that if we were going to get knocked out, we were not going to get knocked out that day, that we were going to survive in this competition a couple more weeks. Before I knew it, one of my colleagues had obviously, you know, gone out, you know, having a good time, and somebody who was very important in this prize competition sort of, you know, said something that startled all of us. They said, you know, you guys were never going to win because one of the girls in your team, you know, comes from this family, and we would rather put that $1 million in somebody who, you know, somebody else, basically. Now that I'm a little bit older, I understand. But that day I didn't understand. I had just turned 23 years old. I probably hadn't seen my parents in almost a year. And you're telling me that I can't do this thing that I have put my all into because of the last name that I carry. That was the day that I realized that there were going to be times where I was going to fight a little bit harder for the things that I really wanted. And I started, you know, the startup capital I got from that venture, you know, I had to pitch so many times. So many people didn't buy into the idea, including, you know, I had been told, you know, we'll fund your business, Tanya, just pitch to our senior leadership and blah, blah, blah. And they just, you know, a lot of times didn't give me the time of day. But I managed to raise the first $75,000 that, you know, I had for my business from over 800 donors. And it was friends, family, some people gave as little as $1. And that's what, you know, started off my entrepreneurial journey. So there was always this assumption that, you know, I would always get what I needed. And I won't lie, I also had that assumption. You know, you've been an entrepreneur, you know what it feels like. I have decided to be an entrepreneur now. I'm sure you don't want me to, you know, go through any struggle. But now when I look, those moments are really what built me up. So fast forward at the, you know, my recent board appointment at Econet Wireless was received in a way that I didn't expect. But for me, it meant that the work had just begun. I currently serve on 8 boards, also including the Africa Center, which is chaired by Chelsea Clinton. And the president of the organization is Halima Dangote, and it has an incredible list of other board members, including Lupita Nyong'o. And with every board membership that I have at the moment, it is a great challenge of leadership, but it's also a great challenge of stretching and applying myself in the best way I know how. And there are a couple of lessons that I've drawn in my last few years. Firstly, that as a woman in leadership, I have to fight for space and fight for a voice. A lot of the rooms that I'm in, I recently spoke at a conference for something called the Milken Institute. And it is, you know, to even be invited to Milken is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And, you know, when I forwarded the email to my parents that I'd been invited to speak, it was almost like a double take. You know, my mom even said, "You didn't tell me you were speaking at Milken." I thought I told you 6 months ago when I got the invitation. But it was like one of those unbelievable moments. And I shared a panel with one of the most successful, you know, bankers in the world who, you know, runs a firm called the Carlyle Group, which is highly respected in the US. And I looked around the room and there was very few people who looked like me. And by look like me, I mean, you know, female, Black leaders. Out of a room of, you know, X number, we were probably 0.5% representation in the room. And that's when I realized that immediately as a Black woman, often, you know, and I know the experience is different when I'm on the African continent, but when I walk into a room, some people have never heard from a person that looks like me. And in 2022, that can sound astounding, but that is the world that we live in. And every time it is so intimidating. And my first inclination is to assume that I'm not good enough to be there. But God has been so gracious and He's given me that opportunity, and I have to fight with every second that I have, you know, whether it is in speaking or whether it is in networking, so that other people like me have a voice, so that they're respected, and so that I can pave the way for others, so that it doesn't become an abnormality to have women who look like me in the room. And so I have to fight for that voice and continue to fight for those opportunities, because it is about more than me. The other thing that I learned very quickly was to have humility. And I do thank God that I haven't had to learn that the hard way. But every time I have an opportunity, I'm surrounded by people who know so much more than me. And it is a privilege that I have been given to be able to serve alongside them in the leadership responsibilities that I have. But I also have a great understanding of why I'm there. I'm also there because my parents have built an incredible legacy. And if Africans have a chance of seeing these successes go from generation to generation to generation, then we have to work a little bit harder, and I have to see the vision. And seeing the vision meant that sometimes I had to give up the things that I thought were nice to have. Where others were working 5 hours, I had to work 10. Because first of all, the amount of work it has taken to drive, you know, the businesses, the foundation to the level that it is at, has taken a lot of resources, a lot of hard work, and a lot of intelligence in the room. And if I have a chance of even contributing just a little, I have to be good enough. I have to know my stuff. And so for me to be able to get to that level, I've had to work 10 times harder. And it is a privilege for me to be able to work that 10 times harder to keep my seat at the table. And so for me, it's having the humility to know that I'm here for a different reason. And the reason I'm here is to be a steward of the resources that my parents have managed to amass, whether it is financial resources, physical assets, or the reputation and legacy that they are in the process of building. I walk in with a deep understanding that I'm not there to represent myself, but to represent my family, my siblings, and to be able to represent the dream and vision that one day Africans will continue to dominate in every industry, and that they will have a chance to live out the dreams that they have without the disadvantage of, the grave poverty that we see on our continent, and even the barriers that are there for people of color and for women in leadership. The other thing that I have learned is to never forget my source. Sometimes one of the things that has been a little bit harder in my leadership journey is that with every responsibility, it becomes a little bit lonelier. A lot of my peers aren't in leadership. They aren't in some of the rooms that I'm in. And sometimes when I then try to relate, it can be a little bit difficult because they don't often understand where I'm coming from. And one of the things that I've really had to learn is that sometimes in leadership, you gain supporters, but you also gain a lot of non-supporters. And so, the last lesson that I wanted to share is that in moments of joy and in moments of sadness, to never forget the wisdom and the grace that I get from the Holy Spirit and who God has made me and the path that He has set for me to be able to do what I do today. So thank you so much for having me. Those are just a couple of the thoughts that I wanted to share. And I hope that, I've been able to contribute something to the discussion and the event that you're having today. Thank you. Okay, 2 questions. Number 1, considering the pressure you are under to prove yourself, how do you manage self-care and time out? Okay, so in the beginning, I had something to prove, obviously. So the first person I had to prove something to was to my dad. I'm not even going to be shy about that. Very loving parent, but he had, to even say high expectations of us is not even the right word. You just have to be good enough with him. He didn't sit there and, say, oh, Tanya, I'm going to find a leadership position for you. It wasn't like that. He will interrogate me on my numbers. He will ask me on current issues. Every single day, my siblings and I receive a dossier of all the current affairs that are happening in Africa. We have to stay abreast with them. Every day we have to meet at 10 a.m., British summertime, to pray as a family. The expectation on us is normal to us. But when I step back and look at, my peers and just look in general, I do then realize that it's a little bit abnormal. When I was younger, I wanted to prove something to him, but I quickly realized you cannot live your life like that. You have to have security within yourself. You have to prove something to yourself. And I must say, I'm a big believer in goal setting and chasing your dreams. And, one of the things, I'm being very candid here, I had my list of things I wanted to achieve by 30. And one of the things I really wanted to do was to go to an Ivy League school. I thought that I was educated, but that it wasn't good enough. I'm very competitive and I wanted to be the best of the best. And I remember I applied, to a couple of schools. Some said, oh, the class is already full. We're not even going to read your application. And it was the end of the world for me because I thought to myself, I have worked so hard. Can't you see my CV? There's very few Africans that are applying to you with my CV. Why won't you give me a chance? And again, it was a test of my faith. And today I'm a student at Cambridge University doing a program for people who are in senior leadership. It's a degree program. But I remember the fight to get there. And I remember the satisfaction of knowing that I had achieved a dream that I had for myself. So I'm in no means trying to be my parents. I have my own dream, my own ambition. And the only person that I have to prove myself to is to myself. And the only expectation I need to meet is the vision and the purpose that God has placed on my life. And so for me, my faith is the center of how I manage. I don't really have a time out at the moment because I have a lot of responsibilities and I have a deep acknowledgement that my lifestyle is not healthy. But I am so motivated to do two things, to live out the purpose that God has given me, but to also see communities changed and transformed. You know, at Higher Life Foundation, I work with an incredible team, and we give it our best to make sure that the students that are on our scholarship, the farmers that we train, the nurses that we train, the doctors that we support, we do our very best to make sure that we are there for them, to support them, and that we stretch every dollar that we have in the things that we do. And so when you sort of have that drive, that it is about the lives that we save and the communities that we support, and that keeps you up at night, it gives you a new spring in your step every single morning. So I think at the moment I manage because I am so passionate about the work that we are doing in communities, and I am so driven to live the dream that I have for myself using the opportunities that my parents set in front of me by what they have achieved. Second one, men are often scared of successful women. What is dating for you? Wow, interesting one. Funny story. I decided to go on a dating app just once, and made my profile being a teacher, a preschool teacher. And I was treated so differently to when I made my profile, CEO of tech company. And I think it proved this thing. So what is dating like for you? I actually didn't date much throughout my I was focused on the books. But no, I have been in a stable long-term relationship for a while. And I think you'll have to ask him what it's been like for him dating somebody. But I think one of the things that I had to do and that I chose to do was to not speak of my relationship and for not many people to know, because they then I didn't want to create a pressure and an expectation on him. But I think he's been around a little bit long enough now for me to mention that I think I just landed, I've been privileged enough, to land in the hands of people who understand and motivate and encourage the success of women in society. And so that has been my privilege. And to all the parents who are concerned about their daughters as they become successful, do not worry. There will be somebody for them who will be their encourager and their cheerleader right in their corner. But thank you so much to everybody for listening. And again, thank you so much for having me. And again, thank you so much for the people who spoke before me, who I have learned so much from today. Again, it is a privilege and an honor to be with you this morning. And I wish you all the best. God bless.
At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses.
Forget about the price so very often. Hello. So one of the things that I want to share, maybe just to tell our guest, is that in Zimbabwe, people love education, and our parents are like, you will go to school, you will go to university, you will get a degree, and you will have a profession, as my mother would say. So that when people ask, what is Tembi's profession? They have an answer that makes sense. And I'm sure our next speaker's parents were no different. Chiedza is a chartered accountant. And I haven't asked her how much of that was parental pressure. But what I'm noticing is that in spite of having qualified as a chartered accountant, which is not easy, as you know, the passion for entrepreneurship is what is leading her today. Chiedza is running a piggery, she has a butchery, and she has a story that she's about to share. Welcome, Chiedza.
Thank you so much, Tembe, and to all the ladies in here, good morning. You're looking beautiful. The ladies that have come before me and made this journey a lot easier, like Tanya was saying, thank you so much. I know you're in here. Nedbank, thank you for inviting me. I met Dr. Sibo, and she's been so passionate about our journey as young entrepreneurs and how Nedbank can assist us. I also work a lot with Mabel at the Borodale branch, so thank you so much for all that you have been doing. So my name is Chiedza Mahovo. I'm a chartered accountant. My professional career started as an accountant in Australia. Then I just was not happy. It wasn't my path. Yes, like Tembe said, parents want you to have a good education, so they sent me off to Australia. I did what I was supposed to do as a good girl, worked as an accountant, and I just was not happy. And actually, when I started my first module for CA, that's when I realized this was not for me. But I could not let my parents down after paying all that fees. I was like, I really have got to complete this, and this will be my plan B should what I really want to do does not work out. So I decided to come back to Zimbabwe in 2017. I didn't even tell my parents I was coming for good. They thought I was coming for holiday because I knew they would not allow me to come and stay. So when I came back, I said, I want to apply for a visa to work in South Africa because it's a lot closer. And then I just started doing a few other ventures. I started an IT company selling computers, consumables, and I think that's when they realized she's not going anywhere. We just have to support her. That didn't work so well due to the foreign exchange rates that we were having. I was getting my stuff from South Africa, and with getting paid in the Zimbabwe dollar, trying to convert that, I decided I needed to do something that is in line with our sort of policies. So I decided to start farming. I had done a pig business plan when I was still in Australia, actually. But then, I was like, okay, let me fulfill my dream of actually doing this piggery farming. So I started this in 2019. I started with 5 breeding sows, and in piggery terms, a pig gives birth to about 10 on average pigs, so that's about 50 pigs. And then by the end of the year, I was at 10 sows. And currently, I'm at 15 sows. I farm in Featherstone, so by the end of the year, I want to be at 20 sows, which will be 200 pigs. What then, because I used to sell, initially the business plan was to just sell the full carcasses to individuals and to butcheries, but then I decided I wanted to add value. Therefore, the butchery started at Westgate Shopping Centre in December of 2020. So now I am processing, I'm making sausages, and we're doing some various pork chops, and then My mother also does farming, so I get the beef from her and some goat meat as well, but she's been very supportive. So from the butcher, I've got 2 ladies that work there and a guy who works there. My joy is being able to empower them and to support them, to say, look, you can do this, even as a young woman, you can do that, because one of the ladies is actually below 30. So I taught them that you can cut meat using that bandsaw machine. I've told them you can clean pigs, some of them at the farm, that you can, clean up after them. Yes, it might not be as good looking. However, there is a potential of making a lot of money. So in the future, I plan on making items such as bacon, salami, polony. That is my dream. And because of my passion for the agribusiness sector, I also ran a canteen service that is servicing over 100 staff in Zimbabwe. So that's also another and I've got 2 ladies that help me there. So I think one of my proud moments is to be able to employ people, because in total I employ 8 people, of which 4 are ladies. So sometimes when things get tough in Zim, and they do, I think a lot of entrepreneurs can attest to that, especially currently. And I'm like, my plan B, I can always go back to Australia. But then I think, there's actually families that are really relying on me at the moment. So I've got to wake up and keep pushing, because if I decide to close my butchery, decide to close the piggery, it means 8 people are out of a job. So that's what keeps me pushing. So some of the challenges that I have encountered along the way is obviously funding. Being 31, having no collateral, it's no easy feat. I was very fortunate that when I worked in Australia, I managed to save that money to come and start a business. But when you're trying to grow, how do I grow? So Nedbank, we are still talking. The other challenge that I face, and I think Tanya said that, is a lot of people do not think I actually do this alone. They think that there's a blesser behind me. They're always asking when I'm buying stuff, they'll be like, Mrs. Who? And I'll be like, no, it's just Chiedza. Then they're just like, what? So I think that's another challenge, that they don't believe a young woman can do that. But that's why I'm also there. That's why I came back to Zim, because I wanted to change that stereotype to say, farmers, you can't look good and still be a farmer, or young people cannot farm, that I cannot look after pigs. Like I can tell you right now, I can inject. Like we can go to the farm, I'll walk you through. I know my processes, I know my pigs, and I'm just so proud of it. So yeah. I can even use that bandsaw machine. Like if you say you want this cut, I can do it for you. So that's one. Another proud moment I am very proud of is I won an award through the Ministry of Agriculture, where we were given 2 breeding sows, like I said, so that equates to about 20 pigs once it starts giving birth. And we have these on for like 3 to 4 years. I won funding. That's how I actually got in touch with Nedbank. We won funding through the Tony Elimele Foundation in Nigeria. Over 400,000 applications were done across Africa, but 5,000 people were selected, of which 77 were Zimbabweans, and I was very fortunate to be one of them. So it was a rigorous process, so I'm really proud. My other passion is empowering young women. So I co-founded the Empowered Women, which is a way of trying to teach young women to be financially literate and how to climb the corporate ladder. And because, I do know quite a number of people, so I try to connect people to other people in Zim, because there's some entrepreneurs that might not be as sort of privileged as I am. So through that, we hold various workshops and various talks, and recently started a podcast called The Empowered Women. Please do listen. There's some very amazing guests that come on our show. So that's one thing I also am proud of. I also, being an alumni of Australia, the Australian Embassy has funded me as well to work with girls. Currently, we work with them in Epworth to teach them how to make sustainable reusable pads, because they look for projects that are sustainable and that are not too complicated. So we said that the girls can, because pads are not affordable, so then they can have these reusable pads, but they can also start a business through the startup that they received that day of all the material and all the learning that they got that day. So that's for me. To conclude, I am looking to build an agribusiness empire. I really want to employ people. I want to add value to people's lives. I want to be cheers adding to the Zim economy. So once again, thank you so much, Nedbank. Thank you so much, Dr. Sibo, for inviting me here. Mabel, for your continued work with us. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wow. Wow. Please just stay here with me, Chedza. You know, if you look at your program, you're going to find that we have Nyaradzo Moyo, who's the founder of Yanaya there. Nyaradzo is not feeling well and would really love your prayers. That's why she wasn't able to make it today. But when they said Chiedza was coming to fill the space, many of you probably didn't know Chiedza and wouldn't have known why. Now that we've heard your story, isn't she just the ideal person? That's incredible, incredible. Actually, there are more recipients of the Tony Elumeli Foundation funding here. Are you here, ladies? Can we just please stand so we can give you a round of applause? That's an awesome, awesome achievement. Wow, 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 wow. This is the Nedbank Women in Business Conference. We are here with our special guest, Sis Connie Ferguson, but we are also here with young local entrepreneurs who are doing really amazing things. Chiedza, people want to ask. Okay, first of all, I want to ask. Ne busy se ya uri. Kanjani dating life?
I'll be lucky if people even approach me. They seem so scared. I'm like, do I look that scary? So that department not really happening, so yeah.
Okay, for the folks at home who are watching, Chiedza is beautiful, accomplished, and open to persuasion. Okay, we've got a roving mic going around the room. I will take 3 questions for Chiedza. Yes, at the back there. In a room full of women, you need to show your prowess.
Hi, ladies. Looking very beautiful today. Thank you, Nedbank, for this program. Chiedza, I'm also a farmer. And first question is, can I supply you with goat meat? My second question is, how easy was it for you to penetrate the market? I know you didn't open up your butchery as a first into your business. How easy was it to set up your cold chain in Zimbabwe where there's power supply problems? And where do you see yourself in 10 years? Thank you.
Okay, I feel like that was like 3 questions in one. But Chiedza, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, about the goat meat we can discuss. Because from my understanding is there's actually currently a shortage of goat meat in Zimbabwe, so I think we can talk about that. Secondly, how did I manage to penetrate the market? So for me, I leveraged a lot on my contacts. I use a lot of social media and a lot of friends, even in diaspora, I've got a lot of family there. So, you know, I've got a lot of my clientele and friends in Australia as well that are supporting some of their families here. So from then on, I think it's just been a word of mouth, because sometimes when someone calls me asking for pork, I'll be like, where did you get my number from? And it's in some random group. So I'm just like, wow, I'm really honored. So I think from trying to do a good job to the customers that I do have, word of mouth has then spread for me to continue growing my client base. And then the cold chain, yes, you're right. It's been a bit of a challenge. I think at Westgate we've got solar, but obviously sometimes when the power goes out for a longer bit, luckily our cold room contains cold, hell, I don't know what to use, but in Shona Chando. And even the deep
cold
freezers.
room contains coldness.
Yeah. So
Happy to translate.
Yeah, I think I've answered that.
Okay, thank you. We've got another question over here.
Thank you, Chiedza, and the encouragement. I'm not a young woman, but I'm still encouraged. My question for you, the CA route that you took, for the sake of the younger viewers who are not here or who haven't asked, surely it wasn't a total waste of time. How are you applying that to your current setup now?
No, it wasn't, you're right.
Can I just, ma'am, are you a parent?
I'm a CA first and foremost, and I'm a parent. I've got 3 sons, 22, 19, and 16.
Should I ask the question that I really want to ask?
Yes, I can answer that too before you ask. I turned 50 on the 9th of June. So
Wow, you look amazing, but that wasn't the question. The question was, are you pressuring your children to do the thing?
And there is no CA amongst them. They don't want to take that route.
Okay, that's okay then. You can go ahead and answer, Chiedza.
No, thanks. Actually, I'll just do a bit of a backstory. Growing up, when we had to go to the farm, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I told myself, I am going to work hard. I'm going to become a chartered accountant, and I'll be sitting in the office all day. And, you know, once I did that, I realized I didn't like that. I then went back to what I hated. But that being said, because of my strong financial background, it's been easier to analyze my costs. It's been easier to analyze my bottom line. It's been easier to do sort of comparisons as to, okay, what's the best feeding mechanism? What is our feeding conversion rate? So I won't get into detail regarding that, but I think when you get into a business, you really want to make a profit. I need to assess my cash flows as to, can I pay my employees at the end of the month? How much can we buy in terms of feed this time around? Okay, we can only afford 1 ton. And a lot of people that are doing farming, they actually are not aware of their costs, you know, especially people that are doing backyard farming. They just start up and, you know, they get a bit of money and it's used for other things. So, you know, I've decided to pay myself a salary. I've really decided to go the proper route because of that background. So it's still in play because I believe I actually still have to continue paying, because I'm with Institute of Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. So I continue paying my memberships and I still attend some of these things because I still want to be on top of my financial game.
Brilliant. Chiedza, you are an inspiration. Thank you so much. Ladies, are you having a good time? Are you inspired? Okay, because we're not done with you yet, and we're not done inspiring you. I promised you earlier that we were going to have another session with Sis Connie, and this is the time. We're now going to talk about her business journey, because as women in business, I'm sure that there is a lot that we can all learn from her story. And you're going to have an opportunity to ask her a few questions after that. So please prepare your questions. Like where we are right now, what is in your portfolio? What does that look like?
Sure. Anyone who's followed our work, I believe, knows the library of work that Ferguson Films has done. So in terms of Ferguson Films, we have done Rockville, 5 seasons of Rockville, 2 seasons of Igazi. Igazi was a drama series. one season of Imposter, and then the next season we gave it to an upcoming production company to do. We've done now 3 seasons of Unmarried, like the other season is broadcasting at the moment. Your favorite, and it was targeted at a much younger lady, this current season. And then we are in the 6th season of The Queen now, and filming the 2nd season of Kings of Joburg. So quite a...
I'm a fan.
For a young production company, because we still consider ourselves young, I think that's a handsome library. We've been very blessed.
Absolutely.
And then from a business point of view, I have to go back, unfortunately. In 2008, I launched a fragrance line. The first one was True Self by myself, and then followed by True Sensation. That was, I'm probably going to answer some of your questions before you even ask them.
Go ahead, please.
So from being in entertainment for as long as I had been and having built a brand over a couple of years, I think what I came to realize was I was a spokesperson for a lot of brands. I would get a nice sum for representing that brand, which was great, right? Because I'd get paid for putting my face on a product or whatever, which was nice. But I think what I started to realize as I went on was, wait a minute, these people can fire me any day. And then my face comes off that package, and then what? I'll always be known as the face of that product, because that is going to be engraved in people's memories. So in that way, I was building someone else's legacy, using my name. To build someone else's legacy. So I think I had an aha moment at the time, and I thought, let me be brave enough to start my own fragrance line. I couldn't do beauty at the time because I had represented a beauty brand. So I thought, a fragrance line. Let me be brave enough to start a fragrance line because, one, people had already started asking for it. Again, wearing someone else's brand, they would go, oh, Connie, you smell good. What are you wearing? And then I would proudly say, I'm wearing someone else's brand, right? So indirectly selling for other people now without even getting paid. So I thought, let me start a fragrance line and let's see how that does. So it was received very well, but I don't think the market, and when I say the market, I mean from a retail point of view, was ready for that, or maybe I wasn't ready to deal with the challenges that came with retail.
Yeah.
So going into store, one was very difficult. So some of my learnings initially from retail came from that.
Yeah.
Now this is before the body care line. Was very hard because you have big brands already established and big brands with big financial muscles behind them. So when you're a startup and you're trying to, and your true self, and you're trying to compete with your Estee Lauders and all those people that have been there with the big pockets, it's very difficult. Because to be in retail, you literally have to pay to be in someone's store. Did you know that? You have to pay to be at a certain level in the shelf. Otherwise, your product is going to be right down there below where nobody can see it, and yet you're still paying for your product to be there. So it was a very big challenge. One, it was very expensive to produce the fragrances, and then just keeping them in store was even more expensive. And then having them in store, you still have to pay for your own advertising in the retailers' pamphlets and whatnot. So the figures just ended up not balancing at all. Yeah. It was literally like throwing money through a dark hole and just hoping that the numbers will pick up and you'll make your money back. It just wasn't happening. Also because the retailers at the time were not very supportive because, one, we were a local brand competing with all these big brands. So instead of giving you support, they almost expect you to come with the same financial muscle that these big brands can. And it unfortunately doesn't work. When you're a startup, you need all the assistance that you can get. Yeah. And I feel like I just didn't have enough assistance at the time. And then flash forward to 2014, 2015, when we launched Connie Body Care. Yeah. Now this time, I think I was a bit more conservative in my approach and didn't go quite as hardcore as I tried with the fragrance initially because we lost a lot of money. So with Connie Body Care, I started with 3 SKUs, 3 variants.
Right.
And I had a test run for 3 months with ShopRite. So ShopRite came on board, and we had a test run in their stores for 3 months to see if, one, there's an appetite for, well, obviously with our research and development, we knew there was an appetite. But now once it's in store, will people still want it? Will people buy the product? And the exercise proved positive. So we went back and then produced bigger volumes. And we've been in store now actually since 2015.
Wow. And not just in South Africa.
And not just in South Africa. And now the products have also grown now from just 3 different variants to a men's line as well. And the men's line also includes shower gels. We're now increasing the baskets to include roll-on soap, shower gel for ladies, going into hair as well. So the whole range, Connie range, is growing.
Incredible, incredible, right, ladies? I love that learning, you know, where you start with something, you go all in, and also to watch the numbers, to see that these numbers are not making sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have so much passion that you just keep you keep throwing the money in, whether the numbers make sense or not, and then to come back and to say, okay, what am I going to do differently this time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, incredible. So. You've kind of made your name in the entertainment business. And entertainers are very powerful people. We're now talking about ESG reporting. You know, when businesses report, they're talking about the environment, they're talking about social issues and governance. What do you feel is the extent of your responsibility as someone with influence in society?
I think the responsibility is huge. One, because people watch what you do, people watch what you say. So it's important to represent yourself, your brand, your associates, because you represent them by, you know. So how you carry yourself is very important because people are watching all the time. So in terms of running a business as well, in terms of governance, as you say, leadership is very important, and how you lead speaks volumes. So as women, there's this thing of being a boss, right? I mean, everybody wants to work themselves up to a position where now, like, you're a boss. The young lady, Tanya, said something very interesting earlier, that, you know, she comes from an affluent family, but she still had to work hard. She still had to work hard. She had to start somewhere and make coffee and do all that. I mean, I was listening to her, and all the time I was just thinking, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is how we start in our industry. You start right at the bottom and work your way up. So a lot of people that had started making coffee, like Tanya, most of them are directors now, most of them are producers now, most of them have even gone to the States now to direct movies. Yeah. So it's just about knowing what you want, and regardless of where you start, having a goal, setting your goals, and just going after them aggressively.
Really, really important. Thank you, Sandra. I think one of the real challenges that we face as a kind of this generation of middle class women is putting our kids in those places. Because, you know, when you grow up and things are not always balancing.
Yeah.
And then you build this life for yourself, and you're like, my kids will never want for anything, you know, and then you have those kids and you've got the means to give them a comfortable life, still being able to say, no, you must work for your pocket money. You know, you've got to earn this privilege. What advice can you give us in that regard?
Oh man, I could relate so much to what she was saying. having been in the industry for so long, Sho and I, the last thing we wanted was for our children to do what we do. Because one, we knew the challenges that come with one being an actress, because that's what I was first before I became a producer. And two, even just being in the industry as a producer. How we literally have to fight for everything every day. We didn't want that for our kids. So yeah, I was one of those parents, as much as I'm supportive and I want them to follow their dreams, but you would try to encourage them in a certain direction. So I remember with Lesedi, because she was very good in computer science, like we really, really tried to sway her towards IT. But she's, like I said, is a very strong personality, and all she wanted to do was perform.
Wow.
So as much as she started performing arts, again, coming back to legacy, we just thought, performing is beautiful. You'll be lucky to sustain it over a certain number of years, but also performing is a business. So you need to understand the business of your personality to be able to market yourself properly and to be able to build a legacy. Because I don't know how many artists are in this room.
I actually wanted to just say there are women in the industry right here.
Yeah.
As you came in, there was Tarirone Gitare. Are you still here? There's Hope Masike, incredible mbira player and singer and performer. Prudence, I don't know if she's here. There you are. Welcome. And Zazalicious, are you here? She's gone. Okay. Yeah. So we do. Okay. We definitely do.
Yeah. So when we started off in the industry, and it still happens a lot now, we were called freelancers, or what is called independent contractors. So basically what that means is you don't work for anybody, you work for yourself. So you don't qualify for a lot of the perks that people that are actually employed qualify for, because you're a freelancer, right? So what was the biggest challenge in our industry was that people didn't know how to manage themselves as businesses. Because in a way that makes you an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? So my husband's and my late husband and I's biggest mission was to, for the people that work for us, teach them financial literacy.
Right.
Because one, for an artist to get a bond was so difficult. For an artist, they would much rather give you a car loan than a bond, and that didn't make sense at all. That didn't make sense at all. So I think we're at a point where, especially with long form shows now, where artists are able to secure a loan for a bond. But even then, that's still tricky, because the contract could be cancelled tomorrow and then you're out of a job.
Right.
So the important thing became knowing how to plan ahead for a shorter
Yes.
period. I don't know if that makes sense. So, for example, if you're going to apply for a car loan, which say would be like a 60 months contract, you would look at, okay, I'm employed for a year, so my salary for a year would be this much. So what if I'm not renewed for the next year? Will I still be able to pay off that car? So if your answer is no, then you don't buy that car.
Right.
Buy something that you can plan for the year that you are employed. So that's kind of the mindset that we had to follow.
Okay. That's a lot of responsibility.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you found that young people coming into the arts industry are receptive and open to that kind of guidance?
Some of them are, but the thing with our industry also is that you have to keep a level head, right? Because it looks very glamorous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, it's so glamorous. So one, if you're not humble, if you're not grounded, if you're not rooted, if you don't have a level head, you will buy into your own publicity and then want to live way beyond your means.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow something happens, you are more famous than you are worth. And by that I mean, and I've I've always said this, and this is the one thing that bothered me a lot before I became a producer and before I started building a brand, was that I was so famous. Everybody knew who I was. But I was a freelancer. I didn't have much to show for my fame. So like I was more famous than I was worth. And worth, not demeaning somebody's stature, but I mean worth financially. So I've always said, if you're going to be that famous, make it count. Make it work for you because you are your business.
Amen. That is so powerful. And I think every artist in this room can relate to that. And even the women that aren't artists.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we really look at the fame. And I think in Zimbabwe, it's even more so here, where our artists are like huge in our eyes because we know them and we know so much about them. But they're struggling just to make ends meet, financially.
And one would wonder, I mean, people on the outside would not understand. They would go, but she's so famous, like she's all over. How come she doesn't have a car? How come she's traveling in taxis?
Exactly.
How come, tomorrow, God forbid, someone passes on, they don't even have funeral insurance, they don't, so none of their affairs are in order. One, it could have just been plain irresponsibility that they didn't prioritize the important things. Or two, it could have simply just been that the struggle was real, that maybe a lot of times they worked for free because they were trying to put themselves out there, and then they become more famous than they were.
They were working for exposure.
Yes, sure.
Oh, that exposure story kills me every time.
Yeah, and corporates need to stop doing that to artists.
Amen.
Stop it now. Really, because, they will come to an artist and go, no, we can't afford to pay you, but the exposure we'll give you will be so great. You'll be on our billboards, you'll be on the pamphlet, you'll be on the... No, corporates really need to stop doing that to artists.
Can I just testify that Nedbank is one of those corporates that doesn't do that? So yay, Nedbank.
Not Nedbank.
Now, as you became more and more successful and your career evolved and your net worth evolved, how did you... Success doesn't always attract good vibes. And sometimes your success makes somebody else sad. How did you manage the social aspects of dealing with success in relation to the people maybe you started out with that weren't succeeding at the same rate as you or to the same extent?
Initially, it was hard, especially when it involved people that saw your struggles when you were coming up. And then after you got to a certain level, you reached out and brought that person into your fold. And then once that person has been there for a while, suddenly they feel like they need to be you, or now you are who you are because of them. That just breaks my heart. And I know before it was very difficult for me to understand it and to deal with it. Because when you know you're a good person, you don't need somebody to tell you that you're a good person. You know. You often ask yourself, why? But I think what I came to realize is I can't be responsible for people's actions. I'm not responsible for people's hearts or how they feel. I'm only responsible for how I treat people. And, I treat people very well. I don't need anybody to tell me that. And I have a good heart, a big heart. I don't need anybody to tell me that. So some people are very receptive of that, and it's beautiful. And then some people are just not, and that's also okay. That's on them. You can't have it all good all the time. It's life. Life has to balance somehow. You can't have everybody love you. So I think my thing is to not give it my energy anymore. I'm very big into now preserving my energy. Yeah. So I'm going to focus on the good and build on that and let that build me. And the negativity is what it is. I'm not even going to lend it an ear.
Wow. Wow. What I love most about this is the assurance that says, I actually, like, nobody needs to put a like on my post for me to know that I'm actually an okay individual. I love that confidence. And I think that in business, particularly, especially in the corporate space, when you are clear, when you have that clarity about who you are and what you bring, then you deal with things differently, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So just to round off the discussion, what would you like to tell the women in the room about building a legacy in your home and also in your business?
Building a legacy can be daunting, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to do. Culturally, background-wise, a lot of us don't come from trust funds, right? A lot of us come from families where both parents had to work very hard to see us through school. And we tell ourselves that when we grow up and when we work, we're going to make sure that our children have everything that they need. And then you get to a point where you can actually literally give your child everything that they need. But you look at them and think, no, actually, I'm not going to necessarily give you everything that you need. I'm going to teach you to give yourself everything that you need.
Yes.
And I think that is legacy. Typical example, we have Ferguson Films. Lesedi is an artist. She graduated from AFDA. She could be sitting in the highest position at Ferguson Films. She's not. She could be acting in every single production that Ferguson Films produces because she's qualified. She's not. Because she has to earn her keep. She has to know that things do not come easy. They look at this company, they know that it is their company, but if I'm just going to hand it on a silver platter, God forbid I'm not here tomorrow, the company is going to collapse. Because they didn't learn the ropes, they didn't learn how to earn it, they didn't earn their keep, so they won't be able to keep it.
Right. That's so good. And I think in Zimbabwe we have so many examples of businesses in the previous generation where you would hear, oh, these people have buses, these people have shops, you know, Vanema Grosa, and the shopping center would actually be named after the family. And then in the next generation, Dololo. It's exactly what you're saying, is that that generation won't have learned and earned their keep. It's brilliant. Thank you so much. I think that we can now take some questions because okay. The roving mic is moving, and we're going to take a maximum of 4 questions. So please make sure your question is not a 4-in-1 like a blanket, you know, or a 2-in-1. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Are we ready? Does someone have a mic? Has the mic been handed to someone? Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much, Connie. We've really learned a lot. My question here is maybe a bit controversial, but I would love you to assist us. I think one of the challenges that we've spoken about and we keep talking about from the Zimbabwean context is how it's so difficult to be an entrepreneur who is married. How do you balance that out? The notion has been that most successful women here predominantly are the single ones or when they've divorced, because normally you find we've been taught, I think the narrative has been, let's empower the woman, but the men haven't been taught to actually be able to live with an empowered woman. How do you handle that?
And the mavuma wena.
That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. I'm all for women empowerment. I do believe women should be empowered, but I also believe men, especially young men and little boys, strong women. Because, I mean, even in schools, you will see the dynamic between little boys and little girls. If a girl is strong and the boy feels intimidated, a fight is going to ensue. So that almost needs to be taught at a younger age, that girls are taught to be strong now. So boys need to know that that is not to emasculate them or take away from their dudeness, but to say, hey, I'm going to have a strong partner who's going to support me and we're going to build together. So just to give an example of my situation, when I met my husband, I was, quote unquote, the famous one. I was kind of already, quote unquote, made. So it was difficult for him to gain people's trust. As far as Connie is concerned, what does he want? Where does he come from? What does he want from her? Is he with her for the right reasons? So that was difficult for him to navigate. But because I could recognize the power and the strength and the hard work and everything else that my husband was, even as a strong woman, I didn't feel the need to assert my strength or my power, because women are different, right? We need to be honest as women as well. There are women who will be strong, but also regard aggression as strength. And aggression is not strength. Arrogance is not strength. I think, there is nothing more beautiful than a soft, strong woman.
Oh, I love that.
Because you can be strong and soft, and then your husband will not see that as intimidation or you trying to compete with him for a position. I feel like we all have our positions and we all have roles to play, but in a partnership, you absolutely, from both ends, need to recognize that it's a partnership and you're building together. You are not working individually together.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope I answered your question.
Who's got the mic? Okay.
Hi, Connie. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, maybe when you were in your 30s and starting your business, if you're already married, have you ever failed at anything? And if yes, how did you manage to get yourself back up to pursuing your passion and, creating that work-life balance between your passion, your businesses, and your family?
Oh, we have failed a lot of times. I mean, I gave the one example, and I don't really consider it failure, though, right? I consider it, I have to take a pause and go back to the drawing board and replan and come back. Because as soon as you consider it failure, you're not going to be encouraged to come back up and start again. Yeah. So sometimes I don't consider it failure. As long as you don't stop, you don't fail. I consider it a pause, a reset. Okay, so you've started, you've gone to a certain point, it's not quite working out. Why is it not working out? You need to figure that out. What do I do differently to move ahead? You need to figure that out. But the moment you stop and you go, I have completely failed at this, then you're not going to get up and try again. Yeah. So yes, I had the challenge with the fragrances, the perfume. Where I realized I went wrong with that was our target market. We targeted the wrong audience. The people that watched what I did at the time, which was generations, was more your mamas, your people in the Lokshin, right, and not so much your middle class, and which was where we aimed because we went very high end with our fragrances. Yeah. So we targeted people that would actually rather buy your Chanels and or your Estee Lauders and whatnot. And the people that wanted to support me, that wanted to buy my fragrances, could not afford them. So that was the learning there. You know, I missed the mark by a mile.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and say, okay, I still want to produce great quality for my people, something that smelled good, but also something that they need. Because with fragrances, they are more a want than a need, right?
Yes.
You need a roll-on, absolutely. You need body lotion, absolutely. Perfume, not so much. If you don't have the money to spend on perfume, you'd rather buy a perfumed body lotion, and that's like an all-in-one. You still smell good, you still look good, and all that. So those were the learnings then from, and I don't consider it failure, that was just the challenge I had at the time. Went back to the drawing board and came back with something people actually needed.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Third question.
Hi, my name is Nyari. Again, I'm also in media, just started off. And I would personally request through Nedbank to be linked with you, Connie. I am super inspired.
I can't see Nyari. I don't know who I'm talking to.
I'm also recording.
Oh, there you oh, sorry. Yes.
Yes, I'm here. So I'm running a new media initiative called Identities. We produce films, talk shows, and so forth. My question is, I've spent a lot of years in civil society where I run a non-profit as well. Now I'm coming back to business. I've got a background in marketing. Now I am facing challenge to say, okay, how do I sustain a relationship with a potential client? Today I come to them, I introduce myself, I want them to support my business. How do I make them support my business by media? And also lastly, may you please be my mentor through Dr. Sibo? You inspire me so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Relationships are very important, right? So if someone is going to continue supporting your business, you have to give them the reason to want to continue to support your business. And that reason being, one, they have to see how passionate you are about what you do. If you're selling a product, they have to see how passionate you are about that product. So that even when you don't have money, Nedbank can go, but you know what, we recognize the potential in this business or in this venture or in this product, whatever it is. So you are the best spokesperson for your brand. So it's your responsibility to make sure that your clients supports you through the good and the bad.
Thank you.
Say what? Can I mentor you? Okay, we'll speak about that.
Our last question now.
Hello. Thank you, thank you.
This is Hope. She's an artist.
Where's Hope?
She's over here.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
can I take the question for now? Because I've got a microphone as well. Connie, I'm Dr. Zorzai Maroweke. I'm in the cannabis industry, a very tough industry, very few women. And unfortunately to say, it's predominantly a white industry. My question
sorry, in the what industry?
Cannabis,
okay,
marijuana, if you like.
Yeah.
And my question to you is, maybe I was late, but what has been your experience in your whole journey working with other women? Because in my industry, I have not only struggled because the industry is quite intimidating and we haven't had so many women forthcoming. I must give it to Zozo, Auntie Zozo, who's in here. She understands this business and she's one of those fierce ladies who are going to come on board. But I'd like to know how you have worked with women and have you really received support from women, or most of your conflicts, have they been with men or women? Like you said, you have people who you have had a bit of glitches with. That would be my question. Thank you.
I didn't quite use the word glitches. I don't glitch with nobody. When they glitch on their own. I move right along. I see a room full of women, right? I'd like to believe that the women here would be supportive of each other. But that's not always the case when you're in the actual workplace. I think by nature, women are, we tend to say men are very competitive, but I find men are very competitive physically. Women are very competitive. Very competitive. So we can use that competition to our advantage to say, I'm going to work hard. When I reach a certain point, and I look at you, and you working hard is going to motivate me to work harder. Not to look at you to say you are not deserving.
Right.
Right? But unfortunately for some women, that's how it happens. Like, they will look at you grow and grow and grow and grow, and they are not moving, and then they're going to think you're not deserving, and then they try to pull you down. There's this big pull me down syndrome that we have sometimes. So I find, events like this one that Nedbank has put together, and conversations like the ones we're having today, maybe will give some of us an aha moment that, it doesn't take anything away from you to acknowledge that somebody else is doing better, and that you could work on yourself to get to where they are.
So true. So true. Hope, do you now have a mic that works?
Yes, I have a mic that works. Connie, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for visiting Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Hope.
Beautiful Zimbabwe. We are facing xenophobic issues between South Africa and Zimbabwe and other Southern African countries. So I wanted to ask 2 questions, or to pose 2 possible solutions. I am a member of the National Arts Council here in Zimbabwe, a board member. So my first question is, I'm sure the South African film industry didn't start this big in comparison to the Zimbabwean one. You are way ahead in South Africa. But we're right next to you, and we would love our friendship to grow with that. So are there any possibilities for collaborations between, let me talk directly to Ferguson Films, with some Zimbabwean film houses here, or with individual actresses and actors here? We would be delighted to foster that, right? I'm sure Nedbank will be delighted to facilitate that.
I love it.
And then secondly, what advice would you have for us as a young industry? Because there's huge opportunity here. We're right next door. Our flights don't cost that much. What advice would you give to our industry, how we can grow the industry? I'm doing a paper on the South African, but it's the whole National Arts Council. But now focusing on the film industry, what advice would you give our film industry? How can we grow? Because like I said, I'm sure your film industry didn't start this big, and you have watched it growing, because when we started on our generations a long time ago. What advice would you have for our film industry here? So those are the 2 questions. Thank you.
All right, I'll start with the opportunity for collaborations question. There's definitely opportunity for collaborations. But I think what I'd like to encourage is for the industry here, before you even go out of Zimbabwe, try and grow the industry in Zimbabwe. And you may ask me how, if you don't have mentors or people that are supporting you. And maybe that's the role that we can play, right? But not necessarily to take you out of Zimbabwe before you build anything within Zimbabwe. I think, so I mean, Nedbank is listening. Maybe, I don't know, maybe start hosting like industry workshops, right? So that we are able to assess where you are as an industry, your needs, what can be done to help you move faster than what you are moving now. And then what I can also encourage is, the world has changed, media has changed. There are so many more opportunities than what we are willing to look at. Now you look at our industry and you think platforms, like your bigger platforms, like your broadcasting platforms, your Netflixes, your DSTV and whatnot. And if you don't have the money to produce anything to go on those platforms, you think that's the end of the day. And yet now you have everything at your fingertips. With YouTube, with Facebook Watch, with Instagram, with TikTok, with social media, how you are able to package yourself, and if you are creative, you should be able to do that. You've got talent. Package a 3-minute movie, or a 5-minute movie, or a 10-minute movie that you can shoot on your phone. You don't need anything fancy to show people that you have talent. And put it on whatever platform, let it go viral. Let us know about you. And then we will know that there's talent in Zimbabwe. It's little things that you can do to start and to empower yourself. But if you're looking at the bigger platforms, yes, government needs to step in and help. that the industry needs to, because for a producer, I'll tell you what, the most frustrating thing for a producer is to sit with all these ideas and all these concepts, and you don't have money to develop them. And for the longest time, we've relied on commissions from broadcasters to produce our own content, which ends up not belonging to you anyway because you didn't fund it.
Right.
So now we have a lot more opportunity. And these are areas that I myself am starting to look into now as to where do I get away from conventional broadcasting?
Yes.
Where I'm able to now monetize my own content, where I'm able to now charge advertising on content that I created, where if we have to put it on a broadcasting broadcasting platform, you lose the rights to that content. You don't even have control as to how many times it's going to be shown, where it's going to be shown, etc., etc. All the way that content is monetized has nothing to do with you. You get your commission as a producer, and that's it, and you're done. So I think we need to think broader than just that. With movies, it could be different, so we could talk movies. But yes, Nedbank, we are open.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it. This is absolutely the last question.
Thank you so much, Dumela.
Okay.
My name is Wadzanai. I'm the founder of Entrepreneur Get Together. So at the moment, I'm mentoring over 1,000 entrepreneurs here in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Thank you. So for me, I believe in starting with a foundation. So you will see that many businesses, they are, yes, talking about going online, you have to do this and that. But at the ZITF, I still remember when I was talking to Sibo, who's one of my mentors, she's with Potras. I was saying, whilst you're trying to roll these programs that you are rolling, can you identify that most of the entrepreneurs, Zimbabwe is run by SMEs, 80% of our economy, they don't even have access to this online, to this internet. Like right now, I've got a program which I'm personally funding, which have given more than 200 business phones, Samsung's A32 to women, so that they can go online. Most women who are in business, they don't even, they have what we call Kambuzi. They didn't know what's WhatsApp, what's Facebook, what's Instagram, how to automate their businesses. And most of them, they're not even watching this. So I believe that we need to start from the foundation. So I know that you are running a foundation. How are you doing it? How are you impacting people from the grassroots? I work with women not only in Zimbabwe, but right now we are getting into the Francophone, which is the French-speaking countries as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So our foundation is very wet behind the ears at the moment. We haven't even launched formally yet, but we just recently launched the Connie Ferguson Day. We've adopted a home. So what we are hoping to do with the foundation is create scholarships. Before we wanted to focus just on our industry, but we've decided to open it a bit more, because our industry is not just about filmmakers. We need accountants. We need business managers, because Ferguson Films is not just a production company, it's a business as well. So 1 year starting from grassroots and educating. So when we went there on my husband's birthday to assess also the needs of the children, they, again, very creative. They allow them to work with their hands, and there's a lot of computer programming classes there. There's cooking and whatnot skills there. So obviously I want to focus on something that I know and that I'm good at. So we identified that we could start, and I'm going to call it a mini film school there. So we'll probably build a hall there that's going to have acting workshops, film workshops and all that. So that's how we are starting small. I understand your frustration with the internet and not having access. I think that's an Africa problem that can be very frustrating, especially even in schools in the Lokshin, where children are expected to do so much and there's just no internet, and not many parents can afford to buy their children data.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a problem. It needs a much bigger intervention, unfortunately, than just what one person can do. But it's a conversation that needs to be spoken about every day, and loudly so, until the people that matter, that are in the right positions, take notice.
Amen to that. Ladies, thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Sis Connie, for those really insightful and helpful responses. We're wrapping up the segment. We're coming close to the end of our program for the day. We want to hear from Nedbank, because in almost every question and interlude that we've had, it's been Nedbank is here. Nedbank is available. Nedbank, are you listening? Here is Nedbank.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, what an awesome day we've all had. I think you all concur?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I think we can give a better big round of applause. I think as Nedbank, we'd have wanted to take you through a few points on financial planning, what it means to create, to grow, and to protect your wealth as entrepreneurs, as individuals, how you should plan for your big item expenditure, your children's university fees, plan for unforeseen or those eventualities when someone dies, plan for your retirement. But I think the presenters have already done that. As they were speaking to us, we've heard what it takes to create a business. We've heard what it takes to grow that business. We've heard what it takes to protect that business. And I don't think I need to really take a lot of time on those points again. I mean, look, we've been taught what succession planning is. How do you build a legacy? How do you build a legacy? I think you saw Tanya. That's the legacy. Tanya is taking over a business. In your businesses, what are you doing? Are you going to have a legacy if you're a one-man show? So I think those are the things we want you to think about. And as you're doing your financial planning, as you're thinking about wealth management, those are the things we are saying as Nedbank. Think about it. I know Connie taught us that it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be a mother. It's okay to be a partner. That when you do something in love, at work, home, family, you will definitely succeed. And I think it's just saying to us, you need to identify that niche. You need to identify what it is that you really want to do, to identify how you're going to do it, and then follow through on those plans. What we also saw today is the importance of having things written down, your business plans. Do you have the business plan? Or it's all in your head and it's changing very quickly? It's important to know what you're going to do if you want to succeed. And I think we've taken those few nuggets. As I was listening to all the ladies, this was coming through very clearly. From Connie, Chiedza, and Tanya, we learned the importance of identifying that passion, the importance of following your dream, and of focus or goal setting, which I've spoken about, so that you can then achieve those goals. Myself as a treasurer, I think, of a bank, and there are only a few of us in this market as lady treasurers, we find it important that you need to... Thank you. We need to know our staff. You need to know your staff. It's not just about being a treasurer. It's whatever field you've chosen to take up. Know your staff. I think Chiedza, I was amazed. She talked about her pigs with passion. Do you talk about your business with passion? Know your staff so that you earn that place at the table and you keep it And Tanya has also spoken about that. And so we encourage you to take these key learnings very seriously as you leave this place and as you work on your business plans going forward. What I also found interesting was, I think in the last part where Connie talked about you're likely to fail in some of your ventures, but pick yourself up. It's not the end of the world. And this week, I think my MD taught me something. She doesn't know she taught me something. And it's called the Jenga metaphor. I'd never heard of it. Has anybody heard of Jenga? Jenga metaphor, you have. Okay, it's a game, it's a board game where there are these blocks, like you've got 54 blocks and you're supposed to pile them in threes. So until all 54 pieces are done, the players start, you stack them in a way that one on top of another to build a tower. When you get to the 54th block, the players in that game start pulling out several blocks and then they build them on top. So you know what happens? This block becomes very unstable because they're different players, everybody putting in what they want, your mind, the way you think it's going to hold. The idea is to build a very tall tower, but it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes it crumbles. And the Jenga metaphor generally says that it is a game, and this game says that when the tower falls, what can you do? You can build it up again. And it's the same things in our lives. Jenga simply says there are choices that you make in your life every single day. What does that choice mean to you? Each time you're living, choices in work, choices in family, choices in education. How are you taking those as your building blocks to success? If you have a wrong turn, how do you pick yourself up? I think Chiedza again showed us that. Even Connie, she talked about her dressmaking days. And then now she's in film. I mean, it tells you that life goes on as long as you're alive. And that is what we want you to know, that we need you to continue. And with the appropriate financial advice, that can happen. And again, that's where we come in as Nedbank. So I was hoping I'd see our contact details on the screen because I wanted to invite you to get in touch with us. And I want you to challenge us to help you succeed in your businesses. Wow. I think we stand ready to be your partners. As you create, you grow, and you protect your wealth, we have a lot of products and services which we can offer you. So please feel free. I'm not seeing the context, but you can see me, and I'll direct you to some of the staff members here. If you need to have a conversation today or any other day, we are there for you. And finally, the reason why I'm up here, it's actually for the vote of thanks. So allow me to give a hearty thanks to our esteemed guest of honor, Mrs. Connie Ferguson. Thank you for gracing us. Thank you. Our presenters, Chiedza Maobo, and Tanya Masiwa. We pray that the wise words that you've shared with us today will keep us on our feet as we strive to build our legacy as women. And I also see some men. I'm sure you took great learnings from this event. Harry, I see you. Thank you to all our service providers, Zilla and Harold, for the wonderful decor, which created the perfect ambience for us. Chinash photography crew, our trusted partner. The media and our streaming partners, AMH, thank you very much again. We want to say thank you to the venue, our hosts, our MC, Tembe, for ably guiding discussions and allowing us to benefit from the wealth of knowledge that our presenters shared by prompting the right discussion points. Thank you so much. Thank you to Zodwa Mkandla and the Zodwa Mkandla Foundation. Thank you for bringing Connie to Zimbabwe. Thank you for partnering with us and for putting in all the hard work to make this event a success. And to the Nedbank team, Harry, thank you. Your team, Rubimbo, Mary Ann, Kevin, thank you very much. We appreciate you. And finally, our MD, Dr. Sibo, who is passionate about women's success and was also very instrumental in making this event a success. Thank you, MD. I know I said finally, so last but not least, and most importantly, thank you all for coming here today. We value you, we appreciate you. For those that are not yet our clients, we look forward to seeing you in our branches, and we look forward to serving you as we do all the time. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more thing. Can you put your hand up if you want to have your picture taken with Connie? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a group photo. Our event manager, Zilla, is going to organize it. And so don't leave if you want to be in the photo, right? Asipo hapo. And remember, libahle. Sibahle. Thank you for coming. Okay? We have some gifts. If you bear with us while we thank our beautiful guests and presenters. We have a gift for Chieta. Our next gift is for the woman who made all of this possible, Zodwa Mkandla. Our next gift is to acknowledge this beautiful set design. Kuhle hands. It's from Melusi Home Design. Please come up and receive your gift. MC failed there. Melusi Home Design would like to give a gift to Connie. Okay. Melusi Home Design also has a gift for the MD of Nedbank. Okay. If you're not following the Melusi Home Design page on Instagram, amenako, we're not coming to your house. Can we now have Hope, Prudence, and Tariro, artists, please come up for your photo op. And Madam Boss, you're here. Where are you, sweetie? Oh, I called her. Please come up quickly so that we can get everybody in the photos as fast as we can.
I emerge. Keep going higher, higher. Extension.
Hi. I am so good.
Obstacle coulda come get me done. Wandava couldn't do chiquira makomo. Higher is the only road. Wanna kunna live. Dengue di jingo abaya baya. Anyone who wanna fire. And we pay the bow. Dengue di jingo abaya baya. Anyone who wanna fire. And we pay the bow. And we pay the power. Been through the fire. And we pay the power.
Thank you, ladies. Our next group is the representatives from the foundation, Higher Life Foundation, and Econet. Please come on.
I pray for elevation, man on the two mirror, man make us say back to sender. Dengue di jingo abaya baya. Anyone who wanna fire. And we pay the bow. Dengue di jingo abaya baya. Anyone who wanna fire. And we pay the bow.
At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Small medium enterprises, SMEs. We understand that when you trust us with your business, you are entrusting us with your vision. We strive to work closely with you to build a firm financial base and find ways in which our banking solutions can be optimized to suit your diverse needs. We offer a myriad of products and are well placed to service and support the unique needs of the following. Traditional small businesses in various sectors, including agro-processing, mining, distribution, retail or wholesale, service industry, food and beverage, manufacturing, transport and tourism, sole proprietors, professional practices, private business certificate holders, small franchise operators, registered savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs. Agri-business. We provide guidance and support on all agriculture-related requests and ensure continuity, accessibility, and quick decision-making. Partnerships with leading academic institutions keep us abreast of the latest research developments and emerging trends in the industry. We have tailored, flexible, and cost-effective finance packages that specifically cater for the sector. We match export and import needs with strong global transacting products and simplified risk hedging instruments. Our specialist industry knowledge is aligned to the needs of three main market sectors, namely agronomy, horticulture, livestock production. Franchising. Our franchising is a unit which was created to devise and deliver tailored solutions for the franchise market. With our client-centric philosophy, partnering with you to grow your franchise, Nedbank Franchising offers clients a banking partnership founded on our willingness and ability to understand your franchise and provide you with a solutions-driven service. We take both the franchisor and franchisee's needs into account. Our holistic approach includes lending, transactional, and value-added solutions. The bank has introduced numerous digital banking capabilities to simplify banking and improve customer experience. Our digital innovations include mobile banking using the USSD platform or mobile banking app, internet banking, online account opening, an enhanced contact center for improved customer queries handling, POS, point of sale, iPOS, integrated point of sale, and MPOS, mobile point of sale machines, and a vast network of ATMs that dispense USD and Zimbabwean dollars. We also facilitate DSTV payments, Zimra payments in USD and Zimbabwean dollars, and have a prepaid MasterCard available for your convenience. Our fully fledged international banking unit offers services in offshore finance, international business and SWIFT payments, facilitating foreign transactions such as foreign payments, foreign receipts processing, telegraphic transfers, CD1s and CD3s. Nedbank's value-added services include financial planning, business assurance, investment planning, estate planning, offshore financial planning, and short-term insurance. We do not just throw money at you. That would be bad banking. We provide a considerable measure of support. Our financial advisory role will drive us to provide real engagement to ensure that what we deliver is sustainable for you, the society, and for us. We are the money experts who do good. See money differently. Nedbank. At Nedbank, we defined our purpose as to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. We gave ourselves a responsibility to challenge old limiting paradigms about money and shift them to new, empowering ones. We realized that we can bring value to society out of our core strengths and what is germane to our business, extensive financial expertise. We do this through financial support, but more importantly, advisory services for individuals and the following sectors and businesses. We also offer corporate finance. Whether you need capital to finance a business venture, working capital to expand your business, or finance vehicles or plant machinery, we have the right solution to meet your specific business needs. Our corporate finance has big interests in mining, rendering support to the sector in a number of ways. Other corporate finance offerings include capital reconstructions, corporate restructuring, commercialization, privatization, localization, and equity investment advice, financial due diligence, investment advisory services, private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations.